Greetings everyone, welcome aboard. Joseph James, schooltrade.com, July 29th, 2010. 2 days left in the month of July. And guys, here we are trading through almost halfway through the summertime. And for the fourth time this month, we just broke our daily profit record here in the room today, guys. 295 ticks today. I laughed at one of my members last night on the phone. He said, you're going to hit 300 ticks this week. And I said, well, probably not. But boy, we'd love to have it happen, and we almost did it today. So big day in the room today. But before we talk about the trades we took today, guys, and we're almost done with the month of July, if you're watching this video right now on the blog right now, guys, don't forget the search box in the blog. You can search for any topic you want. The live support button on the blog, right? The Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, right? We got a bunch of videos on our YouTube page that you won't find on the blog. And below the YouTube link, you'll see the follow me button. Guys, very important, you want to follow this blog or make sure you're signed up for our newsletter. That way you get everything brand new. We put trade calls, right? We had 4 winning trade calls this morning. Right, guys? We've done over 10 winning trades in the blog this week. Make sure you guys are following the blog. Videos, articles, guys. And if you want something new on the blog, email us, right? sales@schooltrade.com, and we might just cover your next question on our blog. Let's see here, 2, 4, 6, 7 total trades. Guys, we had made $1,000 before 10 o'clock this morning, and it was all downhill from there. Pretty simple price patterns today, guys. We didn't see very much out of the ordinary. We took a couple fast track trades, right? That second trade of the day was in the fast track. We'll talk about that in a second for all you fast track traders out there. As you can see, though, 294 ticks, 29.40, gold, Russell, crude. Nothing on the euro today. Biggest trade of the day, though, was on crude. We had a 78 tick winner there on the Russell. So 92.70 for the week, guys. 31,000 for the month. We smashed the record of 21,000 last month. 31,000 and change this month, guys. And now we're over 104,000 for the year, guys. My goal was 100 grand for the year. And here we are, 4 months to go, guys. We love it. We love it. We'll keep you guys posted the rest of the month. Now, what's the most important that happened today? Well, I think the most important thing we saw today was the dollar moving. Now, we're going to look at the dollar in a second, but what happened was the dollar was dropping, which caused us to have a little bit better patterns that were developing, but then the dollar got kind of wedged between support and resistance, and that put everything to sleep for a couple hours, and then it woke back up late in the morning. We had crude oil sideways at 77 today. We had gold sideways all the way down at those lows. Remember, guys, we're all the way down at the lows on gold right now. We saw flat trigger lines on gold. That really kind of kept a damper on the gold market all day. We really continue to see the gold looking for direction right now. Along with the crude, the euro got caught around 3,000, that big psychological level on the euro futures. We saw the euro, of course, yesterday the euro was trading sideways just below 3,000. This morning we noticed we're above 3,000 now, okay, but again had a hard time finding direction. So we had 3 very sideways markets here early morning, and then all of a sudden dollar broke resistance and the Russell began to move. We made almost $800 in the Russell when that happened, guys. A lot of great stuff today. Let's first start with the dollar, though, because this is really kind of what kind of got us going this morning here. You'll notice the dollar here. 2 things come to mind. First thing is we have this big tumbling in the dollar. So dollar is dropping. So, of course, with the dollar moving, we should expect to see other markets begin to move as well. But then what happened was the dollar got caught in this little wedge. And when the dollar got caught in this wedge, this trigger line here ended up being our Achilles heel. So what happened was inside this wedge pattern, we had the trigger line in here. And so that trigger line, right, what happened was that price was trading inside the wedge, but it kept getting held up by this trigger line. And so that's really what kind of gave us a little bit more concern here, because we were trying to, of course, sell the highs, buy the lows, and that trigger line right in the middle there, that's what kept giving us some problems. Now, that is, of course, exactly what helped us out on the Russell later on this morning, though. Okay, so, of course, we take our time up front, 8:30, 9 o'clock, 9:15, we're looking at the dollar. The dollar dropped, but it's now resting in that wedge pattern. So that tells us we have some movement expected today, but with that wedge pattern, though, it's going to keep that dollar contained, and if the dollar is contained, the rest of the markets will be contained as well. Now, here's what gold looked like. Gold was nasty today. Nothing really at all to be excited about on gold here, except for the fact that we had this very easy wedge pattern. So there were a couple things here that I wanted to go over with you guys here. Now, the first thing is you notice we're in the wedge, right? So there's my wedge. Got my wedge bottom, my wedge low. So right off the bat, where are we? Right in the middle of the wedge, guys. So we want to be careful, right? That's the first thing we notice. In the middle of the wedge, you want to be careful. Inside the wedge, middle of the wedge, right? Want to be careful. So we look for the extremes, look to sell the highs, buy the lows. So the first thing was we saw the wedge. The second thing we see here, down bottom, really slow red pace of tape. So we got red pace of tape. That means real slow speed. And then the third thing, which really made me concerned, is the trigger lines. And you'll notice here, guys, the trigger lines, we've got 62.2 on my fast chart. I've got 62.3, 2.3, 2.2. So between 62.2 and 62.3, guys, we had everything, right? Between 62.2 and 62.3, all the trigger lines were flat and sideways. All right, so we had inside the wedge, flat trigger lines, slow speed of the tape. All of that at 9 o'clock tells me we're going to have to be on our toes for gold. We may not get too many easy patterns, but if we keep focused on these charts, though, we're going to see a couple. We did see a couple trades on gold today, but they were not the easiest trades we've ever seen before. Okay, so that was gold. On crude once again now gave us a real good heads up on the day ahead. Now look here on the right side first. Here's my 4-range chart, my fast time frame, and what do we see here? Here's my trading range from yesterday, and here's my trading range today. Now, what do you notice here, guys? I notice here that we are below the highs and above the lows, right? There's my lows, there's my highs. Where are we, right? We are now inside, right? They call this an inside day. Okay, we are inside the trading range from yesterday. Okay, so of course, what our goal now was, whenever we see an inside day like this, right, our goal now is going to be patient and get in above the 74s. Okay, so 77, 74, that was the perfect position there for a long trade. For a short trade, I want to get down here below 75.90. All right, we call this an inside day, right, because we're inside of the range from yesterday. Right, the range from yesterday, much wider. We are inside that range today. So let's focus on 77.74 and 75.90 as where we want to see price go. That way we can make sure we're ready for it. And then look over on the left. You can see here we are wedge pattern, right? Wedge high, wedge low. And so you can see here, guys, how do we treat a wedge? The best way to treat a wedge here is to find this, right, 77, 74, 78 even. That's the swing high right there. See that swing high? Once I break above that wedge, I'm then going to look to break above a swing high. It's right there. If I break above that swing high, that's my long trade. Okay, so we've identified now 77, 74 to the upside. Okay, below 76, there's my swing low down bottom here. Right, below 76 to the downside. Okay, so just below 78 to the upside and below 76 to the downside. Right, that was easy. Okay, we looked at the chart, wedge pattern, inside day. Let's keep moving. Now let's see what happens, guys, on our first trade of the morning here. Now we notice the wedge pattern, right? Where's the bottom of the wedge? The bottom of the wedge here is 76, 74. All right, now remember, we're trying to get at 77, 74 for our long trades. Okay, so let's see where we are now. Left side of the screen on crude. This is now going to set up for your two-step pattern long. Here we are, left side now. What do we see? There's my channel, right? There's my wedge. Right? I've also got the low of day here at 51s. Okay, guys, so what do you know? Low of day, we're looking for a two-step long. Right? Bottom of the wedge, looking for a two-step long. Right? So here's what it looked like here at 8:30. There's my swing high. I'm going to wait to break above that swing high. I'm going to put a target up here at 77 and a final target all the way up here at my high of the wedge. All right, guys? So that's the plan of attack here, getting above that 76.70 area, right? 76.65. All right, and then of course you can see here on the lower right-hand corner here, then of course the two-step pattern triggers, right? We get into that two-step and our final target will be all the way up here. All right, let's see what happened. Here's the trade. Here's what it looked like. So now here's our first trade of the morning here, just before the 9 o'clock hour, right? 8:40. Again, here's the bottom of my wedge. We bounce off the bottom of the wedge, mark my swing high, right? There's two-step pattern long. Now I decided to take profit right here. I ended up taking profit right here,